And welcome to another episode of Even More Mashed Up,
Woohoo.
podcast featuring two professors talking about all things pop culture. I am, as always, Patrick.
And I am still Alan. And today, a podcast that we might subtitle, Fury of the Podcasters.
Oh yeah, no, that's terrible.
Now, was yours better?
No, but...
What was yours?
Mine was, and today we're talking about Shazam, Shazam, Shazam. Doing a little Barney Fife reference there.
Wow.
Wasn't it Barney Fife that said Shazam?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I would ask Z, who's new in the show today on the board, but she clearly did not understand the reference.
Yeah, no, I didn't expect anyone would.
So your idea to start the show for a reference was to do something nobody would get.
That's all I got.
Good.
I literally had nothing else.
Because if we want to appeal to like a
You
youthful
really
demographic, we
Fury
should.
of the Pods. That would be better because it's closer to the title.
Yeah, but we're not pods. We're podcasters.
But we're in an environment of other pods.
Are we?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes,
I don't know
people
about
do
that.
refer to podcasts as pods. So,
Anyway, welcome Z.
yes.
And if anybody hasn't guessed, based on that terrific,
Shazam. I'm not even sure that's a good impersonation.
is that your idea of a Southern accent?
It's my idea. It's my idea of what Barney Fife sounds like. Is he meant to be Southern? I just thought he was always just Barney Fife.
Barney Fife? You mean in Mayberry?
Is that what he's in? I really.
You're talking about the Andy Griffith Show, right?
That, I was like, it's got that guy in it.
The
Yeah,
town is
Andy-
Mayberry. Yeah,
Andy
it's
Griffith's
set
back
in North Carolina.
It's
So you
set-
don't see Andy Griffith as a Southern guy.
I never thought of it as Southern. Yeah, no.
You
I mean, I never watched
you-
the Andy Griffith Show. So
I don't even know how you can do a pop culture podcast.
I just assumed it was kind of middle America. Is it directed by H.G. Wells?
Yeah, that's a deep dive.
That's a deep cut for people.
So anyway, Shazam 2,
Yes.
Fury of the Gods.
Yes.
The guy in my 8 a.m. class who was really upset with my critique of Ant-Man
Uh-huh.
chose not to go to see it,
Oh.
which I think says something about where Shazam sits in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, I think there's other reasons, too.
Yeah. So you said the movie like inspired a big question in you, though.
Yes, I do have a question.
You want
for
to ask the question?
Yes, so we've
Right.
we've talked about this with the MCU trilogies as to which character sort of has the best trilogy.
Okay.
And so I thought, we could do the same thing about the DCEU. Now,
Ew.
none of them have trilogies,
Okay.
but several properties have had multiple films.
Right,
In
like-
fact, there's 4.
Wonder Woman.
Okay, let me. I've got them.
Shazam?
Okay, let me.
Is that how we say it now?
Let me-
Good. All right.
So-
Sorry. You
so-
don't, Z, want to step on his toes.
I say I have a whole
at any
thing
point
prepared.
in this podcast because it's
I have
prepared.
a whole thing prepared.
Nothing better than reading straight from a sheet of paper on a podcast.
So, Superman. We have Man of Steel and Batman v Superman.
Isn't the Batman v Superman more of a Batman movie?
It's half and half at least.
Okay. All right. So, Superman?
But Wonder Woman. We have Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984.
That's right.
Suicide Squad. We have Suicide Squad and The Suicide Squad.
Right.
And then we have Shazam with Shazam and Shazam Fury of the Gods. So my question is a 2-part question.
Yes.
Which multi-film DCEU property is the strongest, and why is it Shazam?
Okay. The why it is Shazam is not that hard to answer, actually.
It's not.
Suicide Squad was a bad movie.
Yes, it was.
It was.
I'm sorry. I think you mean the Oscar-winning Suicide Squad was
Yes,
a bad
I know
movie.
you like. Yeah, I know, but the Oscars, like, you can't take them seriously.
I know. Not after that.
And Gunn's version of the Suicide Squad was way overrated and not that good.
Yeah.
So I think the Suicide Squad is Suicide Squad as a 2-film sequence is the worst.
Okay. Yeah,
of
I'd
them.
probably say that. Yeah.
I think it would be Superman and Batman versus Superman next. Mm-hmm. Martha.
Yeah.
I think kind of like
Yeah.
he puts that one to
I
bed.
mean, Man of
pretty
Steel
quickly,
gets a
right?
bad rap, but Batman v Superman.
I know you like Man of Steel more than you should, but it's
Yeah.
not
Okay,
good
to
enough.
be fair, I like all superhero movies more than I
Yes,
should,
that
according
is-
to you.
That is kind of, well, or just the truth.
Which is according to you.
I do get the truth a lot. That's fair.
Maybe
but
the truthing is.
I think Batman versus Superman was not a very good movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of stuffed full, and it was dumb, and it had that dumb turning point. So,
Really dumb turning point.
yeah, I think Wonder Woman is second.
Yeah.
Because 1984 was not that good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Wonder Woman is easily the best of the DCEU movies.
Right.
But
Now-
1984 just pooped the bed so badly.
I can't believe you just said poop the bed.
I was trying to avoid saying any of the other things.
No, I understand that, but, like, Z doesn't know us yet, and now
She
she's
does.
just going to see you as, like, somebody who likes to play it blue, you know? Oh, I
Really?
say dirty words on a podcast,
I
and it
said,
makes it hip
I'm
and edgy.
sorry. In your mind, I said poop, and that makes me working blue.
For you. For you, that's pretty blue.
I don't think that's... Okay, number one, that is not even close to blue for me,
No,
and
that's
you know that.
No, I've heard much worse.
Yeah, you've heard much worse.
That's fair. So, but
Yeah.
That being said, Shazam 2, I don't want to spoil things. It's not that good.
I thought it was fine.
I think it was fine.
It was a perfectly entertaining film.
It was not a perfectly entertaining
perfectly
film. No,
entertaining.
because perfectly entertaining would mean that it was entertaining.
Yeah.
It was not always entertaining.
Not always, but it was entertaining on
So
some
you would
levels.
say something that is not always entertaining is perfectly entertaining.
Yes. Yes, because the perfectly there is not working as in it's perfect. It's working in there as a qualifier that it's not entertaining. It's perfectly entertaining.
Oh, if you mean perfectly, then
Perfectly
fine. I'm fine with that. So yeah, I mean it's not that good a movie.
Let me ask: were you more annoyed by cute child actors or subtle product placement?
So here's the thing: cute child actors. Please don't take this the wrong way.
He hates them.
I hate child actors. My daughter was a child actor, so I know from what I speak.
You hate child actors. Your daughter was a child actor. Ergo,
No, I always exempted Hope.
Okay.
Hope accepted. But
Okay.
like when a child shows up in a movie or a TV show, it's just to be cute, and I don't care for cuteness.
he hates kids.
I know I love kids. I hate cuteness.
Yeah.
That's my position. So anyway, I hate like the cute kids. I feel really bad for the actress who's playing the one older. I don't know what the different
Darla?
Darla, yeah, who has to act like she's.
I really like her. I actually like both versions of Darla.
I
Megan
don't know.
Good, I believe, is her name.
To me, it
the
feels
actress name.
demeaning to the actor in a way to have to. But anyway, I totally lost my train of thought.
Child actors.
Oh, so not a fan of child actors. Like, you can do product placement well.
Yeah, this was subtle.
Michael Bay.
Okay,
Like-
that's your standard
Yes.
for no, come on.
In Transformers, where they hit the Bud Light truck,
Yeah, exactly.
and it spills open, and there's like a street in New York full of Bud Light. Mm-hmm. He's clearly winking at the audience. He's saying,
Oh,
"I
here we
know
go.
I'm doing over the top."
See, this is what he does. He tries to act like Michael Bay knows these things, when in fact it's just Michael Bay being
He
Michael
100% knows what he's doing. He is much smarter
Bay.
than you give him credit
No,
for.
he's not.
Z, do you have a position on Michael Bay and the Transformers movies?
Not really.
Okay.
I like the series, like the Transformers series, and but I don't really have like an opinion or anything.
Okay, no, she liked it though, so
She liked it with no opinion on it.
that's kind of like perfectly fine.
That it is,
Frankly.
yeah. That's probably about what the Transformer
it's-
franchise deserves.
That's fair, but what elevates it is Michael Bay
No.
kind of winking at the audience and saying, like, I'm going to give you product placement that's going to so hit you over the head that we'll all laugh at it. It becomes a joke. Mm-hmm. That's not what worked here. Mm-hmm. Because it actually gets to the point I wanted to leave
Okay.
with. I was like, I like a movie that makes me think about big issues. Mm-hmm. Like really think about the human experience, like political hot button issues. Like I want a movie that makes me think. And this got me thinking about Skittles.
Okay.
Because this movie was really kind of like half a film and half a commercial.
That's not unfair.
The amount of Skittles in this movie.
See, it just feels like a lot of Skittles because
Was
it's all happening kind of at once.
It doesn't though.
Really?
No, there's Skittles all over. She
Are
throws
there?
the yellow Skittles down when she goes to feed the bad wizard who's escaped from jail.
Oh,
they're
that's
eating Skittles
that's right.
earlier,
That's
like
because she doesn't
Skittles,
deserve the strawberry Skittles.
Right, Skittles are seeded through the whole thing, and it just is the
Pretty sure it's the director winking at the audience.
No, there's no
knowing
winking. This is,
knowing that
this is-
it's
this
so
is-
over the top.
No.
Wink?
This is a director that has sold out,
I don't think so.
sold their soul.
I don't think
So
so.
this got me thinking, though.
Opposed to the purity of Michael Bay.
Michael Bay is an artist and a
Okay.
craftsman.
Whatever.
So, but it got me thinking about Skittles. Mm-hmm. Which, like, if you're going to pick a candy, it's not even a good candy to pick.
So I'm assuming
Literally, I have a list
hate,
of candies.
I'm assuming you hate Reese's Pieces in E.T.
I'm not a big fan of Reese's Pieces in E.T. I'm not a big E.T. fan.
I'm not a big E.T. fan
Right.
either.
So I just, off the top of my head,
Uh-huh.
and certainly this will provoke even Z,
Yes.
I came up with a quick list of candies
Uh-huh.
that would have been better to center a movie around.
Okay.
Instead
Center
of
a movie
Skittles.
or this movie?
This movie.
Okay.
Have you seen Shazam 2, Z?
No, not yet.
Okay. So you might not need to. I'm just going to say. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But Skittles are compared to the ambrosia of the gods.
It is.
Like,
Yes, that
the
is
most
true.
delicious thing, right?
To be fair, they said it's the closest thing they have to ambrosia.
I disagree. Let me
Which
give
is
you a
all that
list
they
of
have on their hands.
candies that are better.
Okay. Oh, this is going to be... yeah, I mean, that's a pretty easy thing to do.
Nerds.
I'm not a big Nerds fan.
I don't really like nerds either.
Oh!
And you take nerds and you put them in a milkshake?
Oh, jeez.
You do like a
Yeah.
Blizzard nerd?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I've never as a big Nerds fan.
Okay, nerds way better. Better than Skittles, though, right?
No.
No?
I have to disagree with you on that. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
Oh, we don't apologize to him when he's wrong.
So you would put Nerds below Skittles, too?
They're about dead even for me.
Okay. Swedish Fish.
I've never had Swedish Fish. I know, we've had this conversation before.
It's like you've never had a Pop-Tart until I forced you to eat one at one
Yes,
point.
that's probably... You didn't force me to eat one, you just had
It
them.
felt like a lot of peer pressure involved in you eating a Pop-Tart.
I think I showed up at your house and you had them. If that's peer pressure, then yes.
Okay. So, Swedish Fish?
They're okay.
Better than Skittles, though.
No.
Darn it. Wow.
Question,
I'm starting
where
to
do
miss Zach
Skittles
a little
rank
bit.
in terms of your favorite candies, Z? Are they like one of your favorite candies?
No.
Okay. Just want to make sure we weren't like, like everything we're going to bring up is going to be sub-Skittle.
I'm quite fascinated what your favorite are. Okay, so Sour Patch Kids.
I like those. Those are pretty good.
Anything sour?
Yeah, I'm not a big
Yes.
sour.
Yeah.
I'm a big sour fan.
I'd probably put that sub-Skittle.
But you can get Skittles, right, that are sour, too.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a better Skittle.
Yeah, I like regular Skittles.
Necco wafers.
Oh my God! Did you just pick like all the awful candies?
I love Necco wafers.
No, but you are the only
I
person
know.
that does.
My mom loved... Okay, bottle caps.
Okay,
They're okay.
is that what they eat in
Really?
Mayberry?
Bottle... You don't know what a bottle cap is?
I know what a bottle cap
No,
is.
you get them
not
for
as a
Halloween
candy.
in the little like
Never got them.
twofer
No,
package.
no.
Right.
not my thing.
Sweet tarts.
Oh, I do like sweet tarts.
Better than.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, not my go-to
So
as a candy,
So I
but you know.
finally got one with sweet tarts.
Yeah, sweet tarts are better.
Smarties are better.
Well, Smarties and sweet tarts are the same thing.
No, they're not.
They're basically the same
Smarties
thing.
are smaller and sweet tarts are bigger. And sweet tart has a little more sweet and tart in it. This is more the tart.
And
Whereas
Smarties
are
are
just
smarter.
the sweet. Swear to God. You make this hard. Jelly beans.
I like jelly beans. They're okay.
Still not better than Skittles?
Depends on the
No.
flavor of jelly beans.
Wow.
Not
Okay.
all flavors of jelly beans are good.
That's true.
Root beer is clearly the best jelly bean.
Oh, and root beer in that form is really
Yeah.
good. But I love that Z's generation can go to the store and you can buy jelly beans, but they're like Skittle jelly beans or Sour Patch Kid jelly beans. They are like the greatest thing in the world. So
That's
good.
true.
So good.
You can go to the store and buy those too. It's not just Z's generation.
Well, now that I don't have kids at home anymore, it doesn't feel right somehow. I know you go to the store and buy like Apple Jacks every week or
Buy
whatever.
Apple
you know.
Jacks. Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops.
Well, whatever's on sale. Really.
All right, so Reese's Pieces.
Oh yeah, that's tops.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Way better than Skittles.
M&M's,
Better than Skittles.
right? Gummy candies. Now I'm getting to like I don't think they're quite as good. Like I'll eat a gummy, but it needs to be sour.
Yeah, gummies. Yeah, gummies are kind of there with Sour Patch for me.
For me, like the bottom is Starburst.
Starburst has kind of the same issue as Skittles in that I like the flavor but the texture. Starburst are just like a big, chewier Skittle.
No, but Skittle has the crispy outer edge.
Yeah,
that
but they're
makes it
still
better.
very,
It
but they're
makes it
still very
slightly
chewy.
better.
Skittles are still very chewy
But they
like a
have the
Starburst.
crispiness.
I don't really think they have much of a crispiness. I mean, compared to a Starburst, yes, but
Okay. All right.
yeah, that's
So anyway, that was the biggest thought I had during the entire movie. So Z, what's better than a Skittle then?
I
well,
don't know.
Reese's Pieces.
Well, right,
Covered that.
Well, I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. It's this candy called manicho.
Called what?
Manicho.
No, I've
No.
not heard this.
It's from Ecuador.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's basically you guys have what are they called? The start with an F, like the chocolate hazelnut ones.
Starts with an
Oh,
F.
I never eat
It's like
hazelnut. so-
Ferreros.
Oh, not the Ferrero Rocher.
I think that.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Like the round ones with like the nuts on top?
Yes.
Yeah, Ferrero Rocher.
Yeah, those
Ferrero
It's really
Rocher.
similar to that.
Okay.
And you
Okay.
know the wafers you were talking about? It's
Ooh, the
like
Ferrero
that on
Rocher
the
is good.
inside.
The wafers on the inside?
Inside, just like that.
Oh, that does sound like it would
Oh.
be good. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ferrero Rochers are good.
Yeah, that's
I've never
fine.
I've never had one.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we learned something today.
We did.
I still think
Which-
nerds are the best candy. though.
Rarely happen. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Oh, we never learn.
Yeah, I was saying we rarely learn things.
I hope Zach doesn't listen because I don't want Zach to feel like he doesn't.
I was just gonna say Zach hasn't been pulling his weight.
I feel bad for Zach because he's a big Shazam fan.
I would say I know, and he's missing the show.
I feel like it might be better
Yeah.
for our relationship,
Yeah.
generally speaking, than Zach not be here.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is things the movie made me
that-
think about.
is
Literally
Skittles?
candy. I was appalled. Like when Michael Bay does it, I don't know why. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, it's because you have no judgment when it comes
It's
to
not
Michael
true.
Bay.
I don't think. But this offended me a little bit as I sat in the theater. It offended me.
Okay.
You're not taking me seriously, but I did. But I now have a list of 2 things I liked in the movie.
Okay, I've got 3.
Not a good movie. It is not perfectly fine.
It's perfectly fine. It's got some issues.
Have you read my Letterboxd?
Your what?
I need to not post on Letterboxd.
What is Letterbox?
You know Letterboxd, right, Z?
I do not.
So it's like an online movie rating app.
Mm-hmm.
All the cool movie guys do them.
A.K.A. Bobby.
And me.
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure you learned about it through Bobby.
Probably true. Mm-hmm. Well, the podcast I listen to, they do a lot of letterbox stuff.
Listen to another podcast.
I do. I want to get better at my craft.
I feel no need to get better.
100%.
Better.
All right, so you have 3 and I have 2. Why don't you go first?
Yes. Okay. I think you'll agree with me with this.
I doubt it.
The fact that the Marvel family is absolutely despised by Philadelphians could not have felt more on brand for Philly. Like, if there's going to be a city that was going to hate their superheroes, it would be Philly.
I agree, but I didn't think the joke was well enough established in the film. It's actually on the negative list for me.
Really?
Yeah. Would Philly be really critical of their heroes?
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Yes.
But I just like there's also that moment in the film where the one Marvel, like Blue Marvel,
I'm not sure which one.
the guy that wears the blue suit.
There's a couple of them. Is that Freddy?
Yeah, Freddy.
Yeah.
Whatever his name is.
Freddy.
Not when he's a Marvel.
Well,
He's
he's Captain Every Power.
That's not his real name.
Well, see, this is the thing: is they can't call. He's in the comics. He's Captain Marvel Jr.
Right.
Because Shazam is Captain Marvel. They obviously
You say
can't
so.
call them that. So that's the running gag about what his name is in the film.
It's not funny.
It's because they're trying,
You know what a running gag should be, number 1? Funny.
Yeah, well, that's true.
It should be actually
But
funny.
you know that's the
It
whole
makes
point
it
about the name.
a
And
gag
then
is-
they flip it because Freddy's character calls himself Captain Every Power, and Shazam is Captain Every Power Jr. The joke is that they reversed that from the comic. Which, if you're me and you understand that they reversed that from the comic, it's
Is
funny.
is that remotely funny?
It's slightly funny.
I don't understand it, so no.
Right, thank you. Right, if it's from the comic, yeah. Like, so this movie is made for a very, very narrow slice of people. I like
don't-
superheroes. But
Do you like superheroes?
You know, I might not like...
I think let's talk about that a little bit.
You and I
What's the last superhero movie you liked, and why is it No Way Home?
So, I will say, one of the things I did like was the new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse looked really good.
Oh, we didn't have that trailer when I went.
Yeah, it looked really
I mean, I've seen the
good.
previous. I'm worried about that movie.
The new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles looked pretty good, too, just in terms of the
That we
aesthetic.
did have the trailer for.
Yeah.
I mean, the aesthetic is very Into the Spider-Verse, so.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so anyway, there's the moment where he stands up to one of the bad guys and all the Philadelphians, instead of like in Spider-Man staying behind him, they all like...
they all, like, walk away?
They walk away. Like that.
Which, by the way, you did get the Easter egg from that, too, right?
Was it the Spider-Man?
No.
What's
There's the one shot of the guy in the crowd that's wearing, like, a red shirt with the yellow collar. That's the guy that played Billy Batson in the old 70s TV show.
Oh, yeah, I totally got that. Like, you have to have...
I got that.
Zero... Whoops, never mind.
Sorry, would you like to continue that thought?
Stop that sentence.
Would you like to continue that thought? You have to have zero what? Life?
Life. Yes,
Yeah.
you have to have zero. Like, you did not catch that. You had to read it somewhere.
No, caught it. Totally caught it.
You say that, like, with pride.
I do.
Very weird.
So what I bring to the show. This is why I don't have to perfect my craft, because I just know these things.
Right. So to me...
Okay, so you didn't like the...
I
enjoyed
didn't.
the Philly thing.
I didn't mind that idea. Like, is it being a Philly thing?
Okay.
But I didn't think it was very well established.
Well, I would say it was established, but it doesn't really go anywhere. Like, it's just kind of there.
How was it established?
Well, they mention it pretty early. Like, it's there pretty early on,
Well,
and then
yes,
it just kind of goes away.
If somebody said it,
Yeah.
then yes, it was established. But I mean,
Yeah.
in the actual film,
It's established in the film by them
besides
saying
the
it.
bridge collapse. No, but I forget it.
But then it doesn't really go anywhere. Because we don't really get the big... We only get that one tiny scene where it's like, oh, look, they actually like them.
Yeah.
But then they walk away. It doesn't...
There's a lot of that. There's a lot.
There are a lot of things that as we've said in before on some of these films, that are not perhaps... are a little bit undercooked.
Not cooked at all. It's like
Yeah.
eating raw...
Skittles? Nerds?
Can you get a raw Skittle?
I don't know. I think if you take the crispy cover off, then you just got raw Skittle.
I don't think that's raw Skittle. That's like innard Skittle.
Yeah. Right. The innards are raw.
There's a Leonard Skinner joke in there somewhere.
Let's not do that.
Innard Skittle.
Yeah, no. Don't
Hey,
try to
so
come up with that now.
First thing I loved most about the film, I love Philadelphia. Philadelphia is like my favorite city. I would live in Philadelphia if I could. I love the people. I love the city. I love Philadelphia. There's finally a superhero movie that makes Philadelphia the star.
You do realize the film's not actually filmed in Philadelphia, though. It was filmed like in Canada.
Well, that's fine, but Philadelphia is the star. You do realize they don't really fly, right?
What?
just checking.
You're ruining it for me. How dare you?
You're unbelievable. I did love that Philadelphia was like front and center.
It is nice to
I
see
think that's-
something other than like New York and Gotham and
Yeah.
Metropolis, to see kind of Philly get its own.
Philly gets its own.
Yeah.
That I liked.
Yep.
All right, you got number 2?
Wasn't that was my number 1? You haven't done your number 1.
My number 1 was Philadelphia as the star.
Oh, that's your number. Okay.
Didn't I say, Z? That
Sorry, I
leads
didn't
to my
realize you
number
did. You
one?
did. You did.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry.
She did.
I mean, it felt like your number 1 was kind of riding on the coattails of my number 1.
I didn't know what your number 1 was going to be. I thought it was building on.
I did like the relatively self-contained nature of the story, even though it
my
may have
God,
worked
this
against
is-
the film garnering an audience.
This is what you're giving them credit for.
Yeah. It's a relatively self-contained to
self-contained.
kind of to the Marvel or to the Captain Marvel
They're definitely
Shazam
going
universe.
to throw that up on the movie poster soon, right?
Well,
a relatively
yeah.
self-contained
I mean, that's part of what I think
exploration.
worked against the film, but
Yeah. We can talk more about that when we get to the negatives.
yeah, I did. I mean,
guess it was relatively
it did kind of
self-contained.
harken back to kind of a time when the superhero movies didn't have to be like part of a big franchise and they could just kind of do their own thing.
It's true, and yet the
which
end
I thought
credits
you would
suggest
like.
differently.
Well, setting aside the end credits.
And the problem is, in almost every other way, it's so much like every other superhero movie
Well, that is true.
that it doesn't. It's not enough to overcome that.
Now that is true.
There is this kind of homogeneity. You're right. You and I sat and wrote a book, All New, All Different:
Yes, we
History
did.
of Racing the American Superhero, available at bookstores everywhere.
Sorry, we wrote an award-winning book.
Right.
Sorry, multiple award-winning book.
Multiple award-winning book. I thought I liked superheroes.
I'm not sure you do.
Wonder if I don't like superheroes.
No, you pooped all over them in our book too.
No, I feel as if that language again, though.
You might have liked superheroes at one
I
point,
just feel like
and yet working with me on them has ruined them for
something's gone wrong. Yeah. So number 2 for me. Mm-hmm. I don't really look forward to Waller and the Justice Society, but I liked the Justice Society when I was a kid.
you. You do realize that by Justice Society they mean the one that showed up in Black Adam.
I do.
And that we're not going to see the Justice
I
Society.
do.
Okay.
I do that, which is why the positive was that I liked it when I was a kid. That's it. That's what I liked about the movie. Philadelphia and a reference to the Justice Society.
Okay.
That,
I really liked. The other thing I liked was some of the cast. I really liked Darla, both versions. I really like Razor's Freddie Freeman.
I do not.
He was a little scenery chewing in this one, but
I don't like him, but I don't dislike him, I guess.
But yeah, I knew you wouldn't be a fan of young Darla because she's just all cuteness.
I think
all the time.
right, but in a way that's really infantilizing to the actress, which I don't know, it bothers me.
Yeah.
Zachary Levi is a good Shazam.
It depends by what you mean a good Shazam.
Okay.
Well, because the version of Shazam in the movie is a very different version than what's in the comics.
Okay, fair enough. But what the direction they've decided to take with Shazam, kind of a comic, underachieving, kind of almost like Spider-Man, Peter Parker-esque, kind of struggling with like. Being
Well,
young
he's
and a
Peter
hero.
Parker if Uncle Ben doesn't get killed and he doesn't learn the with great power comes great responsibility lesson.
Well, he's kind of learning it. It's just taking him a little bit longer because his uncle's still alive.
He's a little slower. Well,
One
no,
supposes.
his uncle's not alive because he's a foster kid. So
Well, that doesn't mean his uncle's not alive.
pretty sure he doesn't have an uncle.
Why not?
Because
Do you think did he just appear out of nowhere? Like often
I don't
foster
think
kids
it-
have real parents
Yeah,
that
but-
come from real families.
Okay, but I don't think foster kids necessarily have to have an uncle to have parents, unless you're
Well,
maybe
yeah,
maybe
you have
you're
to have parents to have an uncle. If you don't,
right.
have
But
parents,
you're just assuming that because he had
Z, help
parents,
me
he
out
has
here.
uncles.
Z's totally done with us.
Yeah, no, Z is checked out.
You can't have uncle until you have a parent, right? You have to have a parent to have an uncle.
Really? What do Bobby and Hope call me?
Well, that's not a real uncle.
Oh, hurtful.
It's an honorary.
Hurtful.
It's an honorary
Hurtful,
uncle.
hurtful. I shake my paper at you. Next topic. Rude.
All right.
Very rude.
My next list is a list of things that didn't make sense to me.
Ooh, are they things I get to explain? I was really hoping there's stuff I get to explain.
Well, they're things that you can try to explain to me, but also things I didn't like
okay.
about the movie.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go.
So very early on, the villains get the staff and put it back together.
Yes.
It seems like at that point they could have very easily taken the hero's powers, but they repeated like, "No, we've got a plan. We're only going to do one at a time."
Well,
Drove
they're
me nuts. Why did they just take all the superheroes' powers and be done with it?
Well, there's a couple issues on top of that with kind of the whole beginning of the film.
Okay.
Because
So
the
make
whole
it worse. That's
well,
fine.
yeah, the whole premise was that they got, they were released from their bubble where they were trapped
Right.
when the staff was broken.
Right.
The staff was broken 2 years ago in movie time. Why are they just showing up now?
Well, we'll get to that in a minute, but I find them to be very ineffective villains.
Well, that's because they're
I
sort
could
of
see-
divided up amongst themselves.
Right. There's so much bickering. I
Yeah.
could see it taking them 2 years to figure out how to get there.
Also,
Yeah.
because we see them when they get
See,
the
now who's doing the explaining?
when they
Me.
get the wizard to fix the staff.
Yeah.
They use their like weird mind control powers on
Right.
him. Why don't they just say, "Hey, can you go get the golden apple for us?" And then we're done.
Right. Yes, there's many uses of power they might have done. Instead, there are moments in this that are really kind of violent physically.
Well, yeah.
Again, like the first one.
That's one. It's not.
And
it didn't strike me except for
No.
the teacher's suicide, which was really
That
dark.
it's brutal. Like
It's
the teacher that has like this fundamentally central role in this kid's life just walks straight over a building.
Yeah, that's the one moment that was. I was like, okay, we haven't fixed that problem from the first movie.
But at the beginning, the opening scene in the museum.
oh yeah,
too.
when they turn all the people to dust.
Right.
Yeah.
But one of the guys gets like thrown into a marble pedestal and his head
Yeah.
like literally gets pulped. And I
Yeah,
think
that
it's a
scene. That scene, the
weird.
murder suicide, and
Yeah.
then just the mythological creatures like stabbing people and so like there again, it's kind of this. Not
there's a lot of dead people in
there's
this.
a lot of dead people in this, and yeah, it didn't strike me as much as the boardroom scene did in the first film,
It
but
was
it's
a little
still
more diffuse. But it was
it still got some of those same like oddly, except for the walking off the roof, which was not diffuse at all.
Right. But to me, I think about something like Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
You can juxtapose violence and humor
Yeah.
to artistic effect. Mm-hmm. This film did not do that.
Well, the problem is that you can do that in Deadpool. You can't do that in a film that is otherwise kind of within a very sort of family-friendly kind of vein.
right.
And then, because that was the problem with the first one as well, is
very
that it's meant to be kind of like a family film, and yet it also has these moments of really stark violence in it. Yeah.
So you don't have an answer to my first question.
What was your first question?
Like they have the staff. Why don't they just take the powers and be done with it?
Yeah, no, it seems like they could have used the staff more effectively, like they did with Freddy, like sneaking up on him,
Right.
as opposed to announcing yourselves.
Right. And waiting until everybody figures out how it works.
Yeah.
And then coming. It made no sense.
Yeah.
It made zero sense.
Adding to that also,
Yeah.
we never get an explanation as to why the wizard is still alive in this movie, because he did die in the first one.
I don't remember the first one.
When he
well
gives
enough to be done.
when he gives the powers to Shazam, I think he just turns to dust. And it's
Okay.
like
well,
like
but
except for Billy's like, "Oh, we need to talk about how you came back later," and then we never get that.
is
like,
it the dust or was it like the bright sprinkly dust that floats upward?
No, I think it was more I think
Just
it was
like
just
dust,
yeah. I
dust.
think it was more like it wasn't like he just changed like
Yeah. Okay.
So
there's like a
matter.
there's
There's
a
a few issues. Yes.
plot holes. To go to the arguing villains part, I thought a better subtitle for the film would be Shazam 2, Bickering Amongst the Gods. There's not a lot of fury. Well, maybe
Well, I mean,
Lou's character.
yeah. I mean
There's
that's
a little fury in her.
yeah. Well, I mean, she's the one that wants to take vengeance on humanity.
Right.
Helen Mirren's character just wants to dominate humanity. I'm not really sure what Rachel Ziegler's character's motivation is.
Oh, she's in love.
Well, yeah.
In the most unbelievable.
Ooh, I've got a fun fact about Rachel
romantic
Ziegler.
subplot that I have ever seen on screen. Do you buy that at all?
What?
That Anthea falls in love with Freddy?
Absolutely
Absolutely not.
Not especially. No.
No.
Like they just kind of gloss over that she's 6,000 years old, and
Well, they
he's
do
like-
kind of mention the age gap.
They do, and then it's like, oh, it's fine.
I mean, I think that's creepy.
It is a little weird.
That's a little creepy.
I got a fun fact about Rachel Ziegler.
I once knew a person who had like a mathematical formula for how young you could date somebody.
Yeah, that's
and
well
I'm pretty
outside
sure
the formula.
6,000
Yeah,
to
6,000.
16 is
Well, what? It's you cut it in half, and then you add like 10 years. So 3,010 is the
2010.
youngest
Yeah,
she
so
should
Freddy,
go.
yeah, Freddy is.
Yeah.
He's a little outside that window.
So Rachel
Yeah.
Ziegler,
Yes.
who plays Anthea, one of the daughters of Atlas.
Yes.
Uh,
Also in West Side Story. covered
yeah,
in
well,
this podcast.
and she was asked
yeah.
why she took the role.
Oh no.
And she explained that though she had already filmed West Side Story,
Yeah.
it hadn't released yet, and so no one knew who she was.
So she needed a
And so
job.
she was having trouble getting parts. And so she's also very excited to be in this film.
No,
But
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Hope was telling me about that she said essentially I took it because it was a job.
yeah, because I mean,
know,
between
like, this is Kiss of-
West Side Story not being out and then COVID kind of delaying everything, she was really kind of having trouble.
This is kiss of death stuff for people like you. Like comic book people who go to comic book movies want their actors to be really serious about it. Like,
Oh no, I'm fine
like-
with it just being a paycheck.
Like Zachary Levi says.
You really think Helen Mirren is in this for Or Lucy Liu, like they need this movie for the cred.
Well, I feel as if no, they don't need it for the cred, but they need to be serious about the character.
Well,
like Ryan Reynolds has a career outside of Deadpool, but he
but
loves
his career
Deadpool,
is being Ryan Reynolds,
and he cares about Deadpool.
That's true.
Is my point. Like he's in. Zachary Levi said, like, my job is to be the best Shazam I can be.
Yeah, but nobody cares about Anthea because she's not an actual character from the comics. Like, yeah, if you have a Shazam guy that's just cashing a check.
No, the nerds will not accept it. Don't
sure they
act
will.
like you're some open-minded.
I'm a very open-minded,
warm-hearted nerd.
I'm not a certain class of nerd that you're referring to. I am, a much more enlightened. Nerd.
But the point being, there's a lot of people out there that I think.
Yeah, but they're only going to care about the main
the
characters.
actor to take it seriously.
Well, yeah. To a certain extent.
Yeah. They don't want people making fun of or making light of what they've built their life around.
Yeah, but not that. Yeah, but people have built their life around this stuff,
So anyway, the three daughters
of Atlas.
The way in which, pretty much, the only thing that defeats them is the fact that they bicker with each other. Felt a little gendered to me.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
It's that's kind of the entire plot. The only way they can be defeated is because they don't get along with each other.
Yeah. Oh, they eventually turn
sisterhood
against
there.
each other. Yeah. It's no sisterhood of the traveling pants.
No, I did not see that movie. However,
I
cannot fully.
I didn't either. Just another title.
Cannot take
just
that.
felt like a reference to slide in there.
Any further.
Yeah, I can't either.
Right, because when you think of sisterhood, you think of pants.
I just think of sisterhood of the traveling pants.
Okay.
Because sisterhood's in the title. Yeah, I think
I got that.
There was another missed opportunity, kind of that. For a moment, I thought with the whole that the wizard stole the apple from Atlas. I was like, ooh, maybe they're doing something with the black man stealing the power from the largely white Greek classical gods.
Yeah,
I thought, they could do, but no.
There'd be a lot of racial politics.
I thought there might be. I thought there might be a chance there, but yeah, there was nothing.
No, they're not interested in that. So to Helen Mirren.
Well, no, they're interested in it, but in a very kind of in the way that the Shazamly, as I guess they're called, kind of represents sort of the kind of
say that word again.
The Shazamly?
Never again.
I think I'm going to say it a lot. Shazamly, Shazamly, Shazamly. That they represent a kind of multiculturalism that's very kind of like 1980s.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like they are.
Like that's on that level. Like that's maybe about as close as Fury of the Gods gets.
Like they've got sexual orientation, they've got race, ethnicity, they've got it all mixed in there.
They do.
All in fairly superficial.
Don't forget disability.
Right, meaning not particularly meaningful ways. Yeah. So and then they've hired Helen Mirren. Mm-hmm. Who doesn't love Helen Mirren? Yeah. Deeply talented actor, has a lot to add, but I feel as if they didn't give her character much depth or much to work with. In fact, all of the bad guys to me were very kind of one-dimensional.
Yeah, that's fair.
In their motivation.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Glenn Close's character in the first Guardians movie.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
There...
It's there. It's like, Helen Mirren's in a superhero movie.
Right, which would be... I don't know. When I found out she was going to... I thought I thought it was a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Because you never see villains like that.
Well, it might have been interesting if she had been like the only villain and could have been something like Blanchett's Hela. Because Helen Mirren could have pulled that off.
There's no Hela in this movie, though.
No, there's not.
Right?
I'm saying,
Right, yeah. Like Hela
I'm just saying
an example of what you might do.
What you could have done, yeah.
But did not do. To me, I was really disappointed. I assumed somebody as great as Helen Mirren would be doing something different. And I don't blame Helen Mirren.
No.
Like, she just got stuck with this movie.
Well, yeah. I don't know if she got stuck with it.
Like Ziegler. Like, just a job.
Yeah.
Just a job. Yeah. It felt a little bit like people were going through the motions. Mm-hmm. Can I add another complaint to this that you're probably going to disagree with?
I don't think that's true.
There's just too much mythos in this for me.
You don't like the mythos?
There's too much. Like I can't.
There's just the Daughters of Atlas.
I can't keep. No, there's like all kinds of stuff. I feel like
what?
I don't know. Just different references here and there.
Like what?
It's too much. I can't even remember. I quit listening. Mm-hmm. It's just too much mythos. The Shazam has a mythos. I don't know any.
There's something I thought about during the film.
Yeah.
With the Shazam mythos. So Shazam is obviously an anagram of the names of the various people that he gets his powers from.
Solo Man.
The wisdom of Solomon.
Solo Man.
What is it? Achilles, Zeus, Atlas, and Mercury.
Okay.
Is it weird that Solomon's the only biblical one and everyone else is Greek?
That's kind of weird.
I'm like, it's like, why is Solomon?
Well, it comes out of a comic book.
It is, but it's still. I mean, it's the same in the comic book. Like it's like
that's
why
my
is
point, though.
why is yeah, but it's kind of like why Solomon?
Who's the wise Greek god?
Athena
Yeah.
would be the goddess of wisdom. So she'd be like. Well, then you'd have Azam,
Azam.
and then it'd be the Azamli.
All right, enough of that. Enough of that. All right. Freddie Freeman's romance with
Anthea. Or Anne.
Totally unbelievable.
Yeah.
That she would kind of cozy up with him to steal his powers.
Believable.
That he would completely fall for it.
Believable.
That she would fall for him.
Yeah, it's probably.
No. There's zero chance. Zero chance.
I mean, Freddie has a kind of charm to him.
Sure. In a fake movie plastic kind of way that has no kind of resonance in real life.
Okay. Well, yeah. But
like how you just accept that. You're like, but all right, so what else you got?
What are we on here? Are we still doing things that I don't like, things that don't make sense?
They're all the same to me.
Okay. So, well, along the same line as far as like things that didn't feel as well established.
Yeah.
You know, like the bit with the unicorns at the end.
Yeah.
There's only the one mention in the first scene of the film where Darla's doing like her project on unicorns, and then unicorns aren't mentioned again. Until then, that felt
There's
kind
a
of
lot of
and
that
then the whole
stuff.
Like the Billy calling Rose a mom moment at the end.
That's on my notes.
Which at the beginning, I mean, the moment she said, "Oh, I wish he would really call me mom," I'm like, well, that's happening by the end of the movie.
I have seen too many movies or talked about too many movies with you because as soon as he said Rose, I'm like, all right, I know how this movie ends.
To be fair, I'm not sure that's a fault of being with me. I think it's just this. There's a lot in this movie that is kind of by the numbers, and thus kind of predictable
and very telegraphed.
Yeah,
very just.
Yeah.
Very telegraphed.
But so again another moment. There's like, yeah, I mean, we got that one moment at the beginning, and then number one, it's telegraphed, but then it never really comes up again.
Right, because it's not part of the story. It's not part of the plot. It's not part of what the movie's doing.
Yeah, it's just kind of there,
stuck there at the beginning and stuck there. And to me, there was too much of that.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, the movie does at times. I think I like a lot of these sequels. Does feel a little bit overstuffed, and that there's not quite. There's not room to develop some of the things that are in there, and because of how much is in there, there isn't time to develop other things like, say, the Daughters of Atlas.
So the end result is you get this really weird paradox: is the movie is overstuffed, and yet when you leave at the end of it, you're like, that was really thin.
Yeah,
like there wasn't anything there. Like there's nothing substantial to hold on to.
Yeah,
to me that might be the best encapsulation of how I felt about the movie. There was like all this stuff stuffed in, and by the time you left. Like you didn't feel like you had anything.
Which, of course, makes it perfectly entertaining.
No, that is way worse than perfectly entertaining. That's frustrating.
Nah.
I am tired of going to movies that, frankly, you kind of make me go to see.
Okay, I don't make you go to see it.
Well, I have to do them for the podcast.
Exactly. It's the podcast that makes you go to see it.
Well, yeah, but if the podcast were a democracy, the vote would have been tied.
It is a democracy.
On whether we should go see Shazam or not.
No, because our bread and butter is superhero stuff.
That's true. It is our bread. Yeah. It is.
It's just you have
mighty thin butter.
You have developed a hatred of superheroes over the many years of us talking about them.
I'm tired of sitting in movies where I'm 3/4 of the way through the superhero movie and I find myself muttering out loud. Like, you've got to be kidding me! I can't.
I did laugh a few times.
I don't think I laughed once.
I laughed at the Taste the Rainbow MF moment. I did. I chuckled.
Come on.
It's funny.
Yeah. Like the 8-year-old next to me thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. Well, if you appreciate the movie on the level of an 8-year-old.
Yes, it's perfectly fine.
It's perfectly entertaining.
That's where you get to perfectly.
That's where you get to perfectly entertaining.
Yeah, so I don't know. I found it like the first Shazam I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And a little offbeat. And it worked fairly well as a superhero movie. I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I thought it was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I thought this was maybe fine. Yeah. Because ultimately, and maybe this is a good place to stick this in from my list, the movie had no stakes.
Yes.
I never felt, unless you cared for all the innocent civilians who were being slaughtered along the way, there were no stakes. When Shazam, spoiler alert, Z.
It's all good.
Okay, when he dies,
he comes back.
Yeah. Did you shed a tear? Did you worry?
The movie that actually I didn't shed a tear, but I did think that Billy's sacrifice moment did actually work better than I expected it to.
But not when you know that he's going to be back in 10 minutes.
See, that's the I wasn't sure. Well, no, because I thought because again, kind of talking about the film having no stakes.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think has really worked against the film in terms of box office.
Yeah.
Is the fact that we know James Gunn is rebooting the whole thing.
For sure.
And so and that's one of the things like people complain, it's kind of the irony of the film. People complain about like, "Oh, I hate that, I have to know the whole universe to understand this one movie."
Right.
But then we have a movie that's largely disconnected from the larger universe. But because that larger universe is now rebooting, everyone's like, "Well, I don't have to go see Shazam now." I'm like, "Well, which do you want? Do you want them connected or do you want them not connected?"
Well, what people want is to complain. Have you not joined the 21st century? That's kind of what social media is for.
Well, that's certainly what half of this podcast is for.
Which half?
Your half.
I'm not that way.
Really?
I'm not a complainer.
Again, tell me about superhero films. Tell me a superhero film you've liked.
Logan was really good. Jeez. Logan was a great movie. It was a very good movie.
Wow. That's a deeper dive than I expected.
No, the Spider-Man movie was entertaining.
That was the last one
you liked. It was entertaining. Yeah, but that wasn't that long ago.
It was a while ago, dude.
I guess it was. Yeah. The movies haven't been very good lately.
They've been fine.
Right.
Except for Quantum Mania, which was excellent.
Here is a newsflash for you.
Mm-hmm.
Very good and fine are not the same thing.
Yeah, they kind of are.
Right.
In fact, actually, fine is higher than very good in comic book grading terms.
So that's pretty good. That's actually pretty good.
Thank you.
But I would.
Wow, he says so begrudgingly.
I never worried. I never felt the death.
I thought I did. I thought for a moment, particularly the way they dragged it. It wouldn't. I was like, I thought they would bring him back much more quickly, and so I was like, oh, they're actually killing him off because we're basically rebooting everything.
Yeah.
And then of course we get the Wonder Woman cameo.
Right. So
spoilers.
But like everything in the film. Were you surprised that all of the kids in the family, except for Billy, lost their powers?
No.
No, like it's just...
No, I knew that was coming.
Like it's all so predictable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even the Wonder... Like somehow I knew from the the general atmosphere that Wonder Woman was going to show up.
Yeah, I had that as well.
So didn't
at first I thought it was just going to be... I did enjoy like the fake Wonder Woman.
Right.
In the because they did that with it was a nice callback to the first movie when you get the fake Superman showing up at the end and you only see him from the neck down. And I thought, oh, so that's the Wonder Woman cameo. Yeah. And then of course, we get actually Gal Gadot.
And wasn't it like super underwhelming, the cameo?
Well, yeah, but again that there's no it's underwhelming and also just kind of further kind of underscored the way in which the movie had no stakes. It's like that's great. But they're pretty much done after this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Right.
Like we don't know. I mean, we don't know that the Zachary Levi Shazam is going to be carried over.
As with all of the post-credit stuff, right? The Wonder Woman stuff gets lumped in there. It just doesn't matter.
Though I did like seeing Mr. Mind.
I know you love Mr. Mind. I don't care about him at all.
I did. I enjoy Mr. Mind.
He might have been somewhat funny the first time.
And I did enjoy because a lot of people were like, "Why isn't Mr. Mind the villain of this film?" And so I do like that we got the teaser credit explaining because he's a little tiny worm. Come on, that was kind of funny.
Don't yell at me.
Come on, Mr. Mind. That was kind of funny.
Do not yell at me.
It was kind of funny.
That was probably the funniest part of the movie.
Oh, that and the Taste the Rainbow.
No, the Taste the Rainbow was not.
Yeah,
no.
Taste the Rainbow moment.
Nope. That's the end of my list of complaints, but I'm happy to hear more of yours.
Oh, we might be done with my complaints, but I have other matters to talk about in terms of the film.
Right. Okay.
Let's see. What are we doing? We talked about Wisdom of Solomon. We talked about Overstuff. Oh yeah, no, that covers all the stuff.
I do have one fair or foul for you.
Ooh, good. We can do that. And then I've got other stuff.
Okay. This comes from the first Google review, as usual. I just go to the first one and I read it.
So much effort you put into the show.
You know what? If you're going to make me see Shazam, this is the effort you're going to get.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Like, if you want better effort, give me
I'm
better
not making
material
you
to
see
work
Shazam.
with.
The podcast is making you see Shazam.
All right. Quote, I am someone who loved the first Shazam movie.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I still believe it's one of the 5 best DC films I've seen. Do you agree with that? I think it probably is in the top 5.
It probably is up there. Well, because what? Wonder Woman's number 1.
Yeah, okay.
And after that, I'm not sure where you go if it's not...
Right, the Flash film will probably fix that, right?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that when we do the trailer part.
So that's probably
Shazam's probably number 2.
So they've established their credentials, right?
Is this another one where it's going to be like Rob Liefeld?
No. It's just
Okay.
I didn't even get their name. It's a rando from the web. Here's some of my biggest problems with the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly, it's not nowhere as funny.
Okay.
I think they mean it's not as funny.
Yeah, that's clearly what they mean.
It's more boring.
Mm.
And I know everything I saw in the end credit scenes won't happen.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things, particularly the first credit scene, doesn't make a lot of sense because you have Harcourt and Economos,
If you say so.
both of whom were in the Suicide Squad, both of whom were main characters in the season 1 of Peacemaker.
I did not watch Peacemaker.
So they're showing up, and there is a Peacemaker season 2, and they're probably going to be in the Waller series that's being done.
Oh, good.
So they're tied. They're still tied. Well, because Harcourt, the actress that plays her, is James Gunn's wife.
Well, there you go.
So, like, they're still carrying on. So on the one hand, it's like, oh, so maybe Shazam is carrying on. But then all they're talking about is him in the Justice Society. I'm like, well, that's Black Adam, and they've basically disavowed the Black Adam film. So what's going on? Like,
maybe they'll make a new Justice Society.
I mean, they could carry over the Justice Society they got left without Black Adam, I guess.
Right.
But it's still kind of weird that,
No, I
again,
agree.
the problem of, like, Black Adam, who is, in fact, next to Mr. Mind and Savannah, one of Shazam's major enemies.
Right.
That has no connection to Shazam at all.
Yeah.
Like, I just want them to show up and see each other and like, why do you have that lightning bolt on your chest that's identical to mine?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. So
anyway, this reviewer was going to give it 1 star, but bumped it to 2 because they loved the Gal Gadot.
okay, I'm not sure if that would,
Appearance?
like, why would you?
Yeah.
Okay.
He liked seeing the whole family use their powers.
We
as a
saw
group.
that in the last movie. It's not new.
The trailers, he kind of enjoyed, but didn't
Okay.
like the disconnection.
Okay.
The second end credit
Disconnection.
scene, I forget his name, but the villain from Shazam 1.
Savannah, Dr. Savannah.
He writes about. Yeah, I thought that was a fairly accurate review, except for the stuff they liked. You know, here's the thing. I went to the movie, and I didn't really care for it, but I didn't hate it.
Really?
Then I sit with you and I talk about
I
it.
was just saying, it feels like
and
you
it
kind of
really
hate
makes me hate the movie more. I'm going to say it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care for this movie.
Okay.
It's no better than Ant-Man,
Which one?
Quantumania.
Oh no, it's
it's
about 10% better, based on Rotten Tomatoes. Because it's
that feels like that's within the margin of error.
it's at 57% with critics versus Quantumania's 47.
Yeah.
It's at 87 with audiences versus Quantumania's 83.
I got to be honest. If 87% of the people that went to see this thing liked it, I just don't trust Americans
I think they just saw it as perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Ooh, do you want to know where Fury of the Gods opening box office falls in the DCEU pantheon?
That sounds like some pretty fascinating information, right, Z?
Yes.
It does.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Z.
Z's
You're
in.
welcome.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, do you want to guess where it is first?
Third.
No.
15th.
Opening box. No.
I don't know. Like,
I
I
didn't-
don't even know what number you're asking me for.
It's third worst.
That's what I meant when I said third.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't let me finish. You cut
Yeah, I
me
could
off.
tell.
Third
Yes,
worst.
I could tell by how you went on to say other things. that you
So
were-
it did really poorly?
Yes. Do you want to know what the only things that are worse than it,
Yeah.
or can you guess the only things that are worse than it?
Something. I feel like the Superman Batman stuff all would have opened bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder Woman would have opened bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Suicide Squad?
Yes.
Both of them?
No.
So
The second one,
The second.
which was affected by COVID.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that.
So the Suicide Squad is below it.
Okay. What am I missing? It's not Justice League or anything
No,
like that.
that's still
Like,
higher.
It can't be any of those.
Yeah.
What am I missing in the DC?
You are missing the one
Oh,
that...
Black Adam.
Nope. Higher.
Black Adam was higher?
Mm-hmm.
Whew. What am I missing?
You're missing Wonder Woman 1984. Which debuted on HBO Max due to COVID.
Oh, that one
Thus
actually,
has-
that
and
one
thus
went through
has-
my head, but I thought it
and-
had to do better.
And
but
no,
yes.
it was on HBO
Right,
Max.
no, I did watch it on HBO Max, so yes, that is
Yeah.
true.
So the only things that have done worse than it were the films affected by COVID.
Right, films that weren't in the movies
Yeah.
or in the theaters.
Well, Suicide Squad was. The Suicide
that's
Squad
right.
was.
That's right.
So it comes in about 3 million under Birds of Prey. That's the next.
Wow.
'Cause I think it's 9th, if I remember. Or no, I think it's
Wow.
10th, because Birds of Prey, I think, is 9th.
How does DC keep making movies?
I don't know.
You would think somebody at the corporation would just say, guys, because undoubtedly it's just dudes that are making these movies. We got to stop. We have to stop. we have to stop doing it.
Who's we?
DC.
Well, they're clearly not.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So I do have some other thoughts about the film, though.
Okay, lay them on me.
So
We're going to do the DC reboot in a future.
yeah, we'll just do a future. Yeah, I think we'll do that in a future episode. 'Cause there's a lot to talk there.
Is there really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So much. Oh, you're.
We should do that next week. I wouldn't have to do any prep.
It's going to enrage you so much.
We'll do that next week.
Yeah, we can do that next
prep.
week. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yep. Sounds good to me. I've already got it prepped, so I don't have to do any prep either. It's a
Excellent.
beautiful thing.
Excellent. All right. So we got. Well, let's still have a little bit of time. So
Yeah.
lay your thoughts on me, and I will.
So the characterization of Shazam, which you've already talked about, is very different from the comics. Because in the comics, Shazam and Billy Batson are basically the same thing. Like, there's not a big difference between the two of them.
Well, there's not a big difference between these two, is there?
See, I don't know, because that's the issue, is that, you know...
Zach Levi tries to play him as a 16-year-old.
Yeah, but I mean, number one, in this film, we don't get a lot of Billy as Billy. He spends much more time as Shazam in this film.
Right.
But even thinking back to the first one, like, you know, the thing that strikes me about Shazam is what they do differently.
Strikes you.
Is that wasn't actually intended.
That's pretty good.
Is that this Shazam is much closer to, like, the kind of wish fulfillment character.
Okay.
And even if I were to go sort of a little psychoanalytical on it,
oh please,
is sort of a little bit more kind of like the you know, Billy's id. In that, if you think back to the first film, like the moment he gets the powers, you know, he's using it to make money, he's using it to sneak into the liquor store and get alcohol.
Right.
Here we see him sort of lusting after Wonder Woman.
Right.
But we don't really see Billy doing any of that.
Actually, Billy, in his short appearances in the movie, seems more mature
Yes.
and
yes.
focused than Shazam does.
Yes,
like,
he
he
does.
actually seems to regress. When
Yeah,
he
which
becomes
is
an
which is
adult.
kind of which is why I think they had to do
Yeah.
the whole, like, I think what they're trying to do. One of the things I think they're doing
okay.
in the film, because the whole thing comes up about, like, why doesn't he have the wisdom of Solomon? And I
Right.
think we get this very vague thing from the wizard Shazam.
Like the wisdom of the heart.
Yeah,
or
which is
whatever.
basically saying, yeah, there's a reason why Shazam, who supposedly has the wisdom of Solomon, seems like an even more immature kid than Billy. Like, it seemed like a lot of the film was kind of explaining, kind
I
of
guess.
torturously explaining
Yeah.
that. But the other thing, and then the other thing with the characterization of Shazam was kind of, so you've got Billy,
right.
who is about, let's see, I'm trying to think there. So Billy's about to age out of the foster system.
He's about to turn 18.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I'm not sure makes sense, because it's only been 2 years, and he was 14, almost 15 in the first movie. Because it happened to be on TNT last night, so I watched a little bit of it.
You know what?
This is what I do.
The amount of time you spend watching TNT.
I'm doing other things.
You literally keep TNT in business.
I
If
do.
It weren't for your
I do
viewership,
other
they would have
things.
closed like 10
I
years
do
ago.
other things.
Like iron your jeans
No, I don't iron my jeans
anymore.
anymore. I haven't done that for years.
That's my
So,
favorite.
I mean, I do iron other things while I watch these shows. But no, I
Do you still iron your t-shirts?
No.
What's left to iron?
My Dockers,
You iron your... Aren't Dockers like wash and wear?
wrinkle-free is a lie. Wrinkle-free is a lie. Oh, my Z is literally
Literally
falling
falling
asleep
asleep.
over.
Anyways, you talk about Dockers in your...
I'm
your-
sorry.
your
Who
pants
brought up
tear.
ironing? Was it me or you? This is all you're doing.
All right, go on.
Um,
Go on.
well, I was
You were talking about... I don't even remember.
So-
Shazam's pants?
well, no. There's Billy aging out of the foster system.
So the math is all wrong.
Math.
Yeah. If
Well,
he was,
there-
if
well,
he
there-
was 14 and now he's 18.
Yeah,
and
it
only
was.
2 years
Well, he's
have
17.
passed.
He's 17.
Well, then he was almost 15, and now it still doesn't
But
work.
yeah, that's the thing. It still
Doesn't
doesn't.
work,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's a weird. The time is not quite
but they
right.
needed to be aging out to tell the story they want to tell.
Yeah.
So
on the one hand, Billy is, aging out of the foster system, and
Right.
he's going to have to leave the family. Which I'm like, well,
Right.
that makes no sense, because Mary aged out of it before you, and she's still there. Like,
yeah, why he assumes they're going to kick him out?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing too. Like, is there any sign that the foster parents would get rid of any of the kids when they age out? Like,
Right.
no. Like,
No.
it's that whole that's another thing that doesn't really make sense.
Right.
But then, so as Shazam,
Right.
he's holding on to the family because he so desperately doesn't want them to leave.
Right.
But also, he doesn't want to call Rosa mom, which doesn't make sense. Like,
No. I 100% agree. Like I cannot explain it away except to tell you that this is not a perfectly fine movie.
yeah. Well, and then the other thing too is he's feels like everyone's pulling away from him.
Right.
Except for the fact that you know, the only ones that we see kind of doing stuff on their own are Freddy and Mary. Everybody is at that house with him the entire time. Like, no one's going anywhere.
No, it's true. So the movie is not perfectly fine.
Yeah, well, I think that there are, you know, some...
Oh, my God. Do you still have another full page of notes?
Yeah, we talked about some of these already.
All right, because I was going to say we better get going because Z is clearly going to shut things down.
No, we talked about some of these already. Don't worry.
All right.
But yeah, well, we already did sort of you know, there's again another kind of missed opportunities. There's all kinds of opportunities or things that could have been done with like Billy versus Shazam and Shazam being kind of the grown-up version. As opposed to Shazam being the less mature version. Right. Like there are things that could have been done, like, you know, going through puberty and stuff like that they could have done metaphorically with this film, with the Billy to Shazam transformation.
So you want metaphorical puberty?
Possibly. I'm saying they, not
like you're taking something that was not a good movie.
I'm trying to make it better.
But you're not.
Possibly. Well, I'm not making it because I couldn't write that movie, but maybe someone could.
You could not write the metaphorical
puberty
I
movie.
think you're the only person who could write it.
I don't think that's true. I think there's lots of people.
I don't think anybody else has that anywhere on their radar. Yeah. All right, go on. So the big miss, metaphorical puberty.
Yeah, that wasn't the big miss, but I felt like there was like the division between Billy and Shazam in the movie just didn't make sense to me the way it is.
Right.
And it seems to me that there's other ways that the Billy Shazam distinction could work.
Got it.
Such as metaphorical puberty.
Oh my God.
Or, you know, your body changing, things like that. There's stuff they could have done.
Now we're getting to a place where I'm frankly pretty uncomfortable.
So
let's not.
We mentioned it earlier.
Okay.
The film's representation of disability and or sexual identity.
Right.
Did you have thoughts?
Well, as I said earlier, I thought it was very superficial.
Yeah.
The sexual orientation was insultingly superficial.
Mm-hmm. Why do you say insultingly? I'm curious if it's the same reason I think.
Well, it's the magazine scene.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of something else. You're right. The magazine scene was a little...
Like he's watching baseball and he's just looking at men in their underwear. It just felt...
Yeah.
It felt...
That felt... Yeah, I did not like that.
Super reductive.
Yes.
And a shorthand way of saying, hey, we're doing sexual identity. But we don't really mean it in any meaningful way. Except there's going to be a gay joke at the end.
The gay joke at the end.
Where they're like, oh, we're going to tell our parents the
truth.
Oh,
that's right. Okay, I thought you meant something.
And they're all like, we're superheroes. And he's like, I'm gay. And it's like, you know, it's like, that's 80s sitcom level.
Yeah, well, see, and that the other...
Addressing of...
Yeah, well, and the other issue with that scene, too, is that he comes out and says he's gay.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's kind of like base level kind of representation of like, you mean your entire family of perfect people accept you for who you are?
Right, immediately.
And also, particularly with the parents, if everybody knew this about him, why didn't the parents actually I don't know, talk to him about it in some way? Rather than kind of make him stay closeted in a way that he doesn't need to.
They wanted him to come along at his own pace. But, it is, again, I think, insultingly superficial way of saying, hey, look at us, we're woke. Yeah. But we're not going to really do anything with it, which I think is kind of the opposite.
Well, it is kind of the lowest bar of representation. It's like, oh, we have a gay character that everybody accepts.
If you wanted to show in a class you were teaching the lowest bar, that's him. Yeah, that's it right there. There's it's not central to the plot in any way. It doesn't matter to the movie. It doesn't matter to the character. It doesn't matter to the people in the family. Right. It just doesn't matter. Yeah. But it's wedged in there in this kind of liberal feel-good way that so I thought it was kind of insulting. Yeah. Honestly. Yeah. With disability, at least Freddie gets more screen time.
He does. Though, I mean, Grazer's not a disabled actor, so it's not.
Yeah, that's a hard one to wrestle with sometimes. Yeah. I think, yeah. Right, and even then, it's mostly just because.
I'm trying to decide how much of. I mean, in this film in particular,
a lot of narrative prosthesis.
No, I was thinking more along the lines of the super crypt trope.
Yeah.
In terms of, the idea of being inspirational in the way that they overcome their disability. I was kind of trying to figure out, how much of that is going on with Freddy's character. Because they don't, because they could and they did it more in the first film, that him getting his Shazam powers sort of solves his disability problem, and that he much prefers to be that other person because he doesn't have the disability.
Right.
This film, I don't know that they it seemed more that he just likes being a superhero, and like he does want to spend more time as his powered up version,
right?
And maybe but more because of being the superhero than because it's an escape from his disability.
Maybe there's a kind of carryover, but it's very tenuous at best, I think. And in many ways, Anthea falls for him in this unbelievable way because he's kind of overproving himself.
No, that's the other. I mean, that's the other.
When he's getting bullied, So even better than the handling of sexual orientation, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Real poster boy.
Yeah. Well, and then it raises the question of when he is actually moving forward against the dragon.
Yeah.
And because they mention at one point that anytime the dragon stares at you, like it brings out your fear and you're absolutely frozen, except for all the times the dragon looks directly at people and they're fine.
Right.
But in that moment, at least,
yes,
I was trying to figure out how much is he overcoming his fear? How much is he overcoming the disability in that moment?
Yeah.
And is this sort of is this a super crypt moment, or is it one where actually it's just the disability is there, but he's not actually like overcoming it?
Yeah. Yeah, neither solution is good, right?
I don't know. I mean, if he's able to demonstrate, if his ability to overcome the fear and be the hero in that sense,
yeah,
regardless of his disability status,
yeah,
I think that's slightly better.
Yeah,
than if he's overcoming his disability to overcome his fear.
Yeah, I feel
it's
like
the
truth of the matter is, though, that the movie's not really concerned with that.
No. I mean, and then you have
be two academics reading stuff into a movie.
No, we don't do that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we've been accused of doing that,
but
we don't do that
eventually.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah, just wipe it away.
But yeah, well, and then there's the other scene where he does sort of like when he's the one that goes for the apple.
Right.
Instead of the wizard. That's clearly the kind of overprovy super crypt moment showing that he can do it. In spite of his disability, and then of course,
but he can't.
He can't until the very end.
To be clear, he can't.
Yeah,
but yeah. I think the movie was problematic that way.
So
I'm still waiting for you to make the case. This was pretty fine, or
perfectly fine,
perfectly fine, because it was self-contained. Like so far, that's what you've got. Like after an hour,
it was a perfectly enjoyable family film.
It was not enjoyable.
Perfectly enjoyable. I enjoyed it. Well, you don't enjoy anything these days.
That's not true.
Really?
That is not true. I just watched...
Oh, here we go. If you say After Sun, I'm going to throw my papers at you.
After Sun was really good. I love the movie. I just watched Metropolis for the first time.
The Fritz Lang movie from the 1920s?
Yes.
That's your... Yes!
It is mind-bendingly good. Mm-hmm. The lead actress, Brigitte Helm, like she gives a performance in that movie that's one of the best acting performances I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And that more, I'm sorry. We're talking about something that's not a superhero.
Is it better than Scarlett Johansson in Black Widow? I think not. That is ridiculous. Better than that?
Yes.
Better than Zoe Saldana as Gamora?
Slightly better.
Oh,
yes.
Ridiculous.
I'm not saying like
ridiculous. Ridiculous.
So I do watch movies that I like. They're just the superhero movie. This is not a good movie. Like at the end of the day, you've not made a good case for it.
I didn't realize it was my job to make a case.
Well, you keep saying it's perfectly entertaining.
For me, I enjoyed it.
You can't make... But why?
Because I just,
Listen to your notes, Z. If you listen to Patrick talk about the movie for an hour...
Again, we've had this conversation.
What would you think the attitude towards the film was? Like, would you think he loved it? He liked it?
I didn't say I loved it.
He thought it was all right, or he hated it?
I feel like it would have been like more towards I like it.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Not like I love it. I feel like
I
like
no, I didn't. Nothing I have said would say that I love.
No. I don't think you've said enough to even like it.
It's just a perfect. Like I can. It's the kind of thing that
I'm not saying you hate it, but I'm saying like you don't like it.
I like it fine.
See that fine. That
fine does a lot of work for me.
I know it does. Frequently,
the fine is carrying a lot of load.
It is okay to not like every superhero movie.
I don't like every superhero movie.
It is okay to come into the show and say
I didn't like Iron Man 2. I mean, I did when I saw it, but eventually I didn't like it.
But you did when you saw it.
But that was like the second movie.
Yeah. So there's got to be another... What's the next superhero movie I have to watch?
Guardians.
See, the trailer for that looked pretty good. Mm-hmm. So it comes out before the new Spider-Man movie?
Oh, yeah, Spider-Man's not until...
The new Spider-Man movie looks sharp.
I don't know. It looks sharp, but I'm just worried that it's part 1 of part 2 and that the movie's just going to be a massive...
It looked pretty overstuffed.
That's my concern.
It looked overstuffed.
But
it looked great.
I mean, because the first one's
great.
so good. Like, I really don't want them to mess this one up. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it looks great. But yeah, I just worry that it's more multiverse stuff, and it seems to be a lot of what we're getting.
So I'm going to go see Guardians, but that one looked okay in the trailer.
Yeah.
Looked okay.
Okay.
I told like I said good things.
So
about the trailer.
you're not going to hold that against me if you go and see it.
No, I would go see Guardians on my own.
Okay.
I would not have seen Shazam
Excellent.
2.
I probably would have.
Oh, I know you would have.
No, I mean, I might have waited till it was on HBO Max.
No, you would not have.
Yeah.
Dude, you're watching reruns of Shazam on TNT.
But that's just because it's on and there's nothing else on TV.
You're not a victim.
Wait,
There's nothing else on TV, so your cable carries only TNT.
there's nothing else that I want to watch.
You're
No.
going to be watching educational programming on PBS?
Well, no, I don't want to watch that. That's
You
not the
don't,
that's
don't
not
care
what
for Vicky's job? Not going to support what she's
I,
doing?
that's totally different.
That's
She's,
like,
she's,
what I hear you
she's
saying is-
WVIA, not PBS.
Right, my wife is a PBS.
No, she's WVIA. Totally
Yeah,
different.
which is PBS and NPR.
Right, but
An executive at the company, but you don't care for their work.
it's not that I don't care for their work. It's just,
You won't consume it.
I don't.
You would
consume
rather
it.
watch Shazam for like the 15th time
I haven't watched
on
it that many
TNT.
times. I haven't watched it that many times.
than watch
That's-
Clifford or
That-
whatever
Well,
PBS is showing.
I'm not a child. I wouldn't watch Clifford.
You're watching Shazam. I think that's a hard one to get out of. Right there.
I was giving you that one.
That's a tough one.
I was giving you that one.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
So
that was one for you after I dragooned you into seeing Shazam 2.
So what's the takeaway? Shazam 2, not a very good movie.
Yeah, it's if you're looking for a way to kill for a couple hours and,
Go for a walk outside.
maybe it's raining. It's going to be raining most of later this week.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, get an umbrella.
Nah, just go.
Probably be
just go-
cheaper. I paid
just go see
$8
Shazam.
for this movie too, and I went to the matinee.
You paid $8?
Yeah.
I paid $3.
Yeah, because you got your special.
I know. I've got like 17
Privilege
free movies.
pass.
I got 17.
And the theater
movies.
was full. What's wrong with Americans?
Oh, my theater was pretty empty.
What's wrong with Americans?
I mean, I went to like the 420 on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Like my entire row was empty. It wasn't like Spider-Man or Ant-Man that was actually pretty full both times I went and saw it.
Man was stuff is killing cinema.
I don't think it's killing
Scorsese
cinema.
might be right.
I don't think it's killing cinema. Cinema's doing fine. It's saving cinema. It's bringing people back to the theaters after the long COVID.
There you go.
It's what's getting butts in seats. This and Avatar and Top Gun Maverick. These are the kinds of things that save movies.
Yes, as long as you don't want art.
It's a kind of art.
It is a kind of art. That's
Now,
fair.
come on.
That
It's
is-
a
no,
it's a
that's-
kind of
that's-
art.
that's
Don't
fair.
disparage the many people who worked on this film and the work that they do.
Like the people who work at PBS and NPR.
You're the one that keeps bringing them into this, not
You're
me.
the one that keeps disparaging.
I didn't disparage them.
You said you were too good for their
I
material.
never said that. You
That's
said I said that.
great. No.
That's not what I said.
I said, why don't you watch PBS? And you said, why would I watch that?
I didn't say that. I don't think that's what I said.
You never do.
Yeah.
The beauty of you
Uh-huh.
is you just never listen to the podcast.
I live in
so
the
you're
present.
never
I'm very much live in the present.
That's right.
I've got a great deal of
Yes.
the presentness about me.
Yes, absolutely. So next week we will continue.
We'll talk.
God help us.
Yeah, I was gonna say now that you just spent the last 10 minutes pooping on superhero stuff, let's talk about more
Language,
superhero
man.
stuff.
Come on.
You can say poop. You can totally say poop.
You know what we should do on the show at some point is Ted Lasso, which I've started watching.
That's on Apple TV. I don't have the Apple.
I do
TV.
have Apple TV.
Well, maybe if somebody shared their password with me, I could watch it.
All right, I've got it for free right now. I got it free for 3 months.
Yeah. Oh, I think I have like an offer for that.
So you could do that if you wanted to.
I could,
So you just choosing not to.
but
And we've got more important things to cover, like Shazam too.
well, we've already covered it. So
Right. I mean, Ted Lasso is not.
I mean, we've got the
phenomenon.
DCU next week, and then we've got the Dungeons and Dragons movie, which I know you're very excited about.
Chris Pine, Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looking forward
That's
to it.
that's going to be art.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I have very little.
That's your standard for
very,
art.
very little hope. But
That and Michael Bay movies are art.
I didn't say. Well, no, Michael Bay is a kind of art.
It's a kind of art.
Why do you keep bringing up Michael Bay?
'Cause you do.
You really don't care for Michael Bay.
You just he's just not that good a filmmaker.
He's not as bad as you think he is.
Yes, he is.
He's perfectly.
He's
good.
definitely not as smart as you think he is.
I'm telling you.
No.
He's outsmarted everybody.
No, he's not.
All right, we
In
really
fact,
need.
there's exactly
Yeah.
one person he's outsmarted, and I think I'm looking at him. You realize nobody on the show can see you turn around and look behind you.
But Z laughs.
Exactly. Like,
right, I got a chuckle from Z, so I thought that's pretty good. Like, I'm going to take that. I take that.
Yeah.
Which is probably a good place to end. I mean, Z, thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you, Z.
Today.
You're welcome back anytime.
I'm sure she's
going
to
hear
that. Chuckle like, okay.
She's like,
okay.
Yeah, Zach's going to get a firmly worded email. Don't ever make me do it. You can't be sick ever.
I can't believe you did that to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Z.
It's all good.
All right. So until next week.